Welcome to my Writing for Change podcast. Today I'm talking about my experience as a protege, my path to becoming a published author, as I was mentored by Kathie Giorgio of All Writers Workplace and Workshop. Hello, I'm author Nancy Flinchbaugh, and this is my podcast, Writing for Change. Today I want to talk about my experience as a protege and being mentored. My journey to becoming a published author has been part of my experience of being mentored, and I want to talk about the value of this in my life. I began my writing journey 20 years ago when I authored my first book with the help of my husband and some wise friends, Bill and Mary Jane Sawyers. In a writing group, they read and critiqued my work over a 5-year period until I decided to self-publish Revelation in the Cave in 2012. In this book, you can join Catherine and the Magnificent and Marvelous Book Club when their interest in ancient cave paintings leads them on an unexpected adventure. The women take a leap of faith, leaving behind their day-to-day lives and travel to modern Turkey for an archaeological dig. They discovered first century scrolls written by first century spiritual heroines. As the group dodges bullets, a religious fanatic, and obstructive government officials, the scrolls are translated. One by one, they lead each of the women to illumination in their personal lives while revealing an engaging story that calls out the teachings of Jesus and the book of Revelation. At the time, I was working at the city of Springfield, Ohio, and at the city clerk, Connie Chappell, had also begun her writing journey around the same time as me. She told me that she had a writing coach, a mentor, and her name was Kathie Giorgio, and that she really liked her. She encouraged me to try Kathie. She gave me the website link for All Writers Workshop and Workplace and referred me to Kathie Giorgio, who's the founder of this online and in-person writing studio in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Kathie started this business so that she could write full-time. Well, she actually writes full-time, and then she has another full-time job mentoring writers like me. She works very hard. At the time, I was working on a sequel to Revelation in the Cave with the Magnificent and Marvelous Book Club, who were now tackling climate change, domestic violence, breast cancer, addiction. It was complicated, but Kathie was up to the task. I decided to sign up with Kathie. This provided a weekly hour-long Zoom call. I had to write pages for us to discuss, so there's a discipline that comes along with this. That's one of the most important things to me. Up to 20 pages a week, which seemed daunting, but that's really what's kept me going as a writer year after year. Kathie edits and suggests improvements. I make corrections and resubmit sections. Eventually, we worked through each manuscript a second time. Then she helps me prepare the manuscripts for submission, guiding me through the process and holding my hand. When Kathie and I finished Revelation at the Labyrinth, she helped me pitch it to small presses. She didn't want me to self-publish because she said I'd have more credibility as an author if it was published by a bona fide publisher. So I was very happy when Alexio Publishing from Texas picked it up. In this book, you can join the Magnificent and Marvelous Book Club, the MAMs, on an adventure as they launch a re-entry organic farm for women in recovery. The ancient pilgrim path of the labyrinth leads them all through personal healing and redemption while finding hope for the planet as they encounter the turmoil of domestic violence, addiction, cancer, and climate change. Thomasina, a victim of domestic violence, is erroneously sentenced to prison for killing her husband in self-defense. When she is released from prison, she moves into the MAM's re-entry organic farm and begins to reconnect with the earth, seeking healing, recovery, and a new life path. Meanwhile, Molly Mabra journeys with breast cancer. This is a story of love and transformation, which will keep you reading and thinking about possible ways to creatively build a future together. Now, Kathie said it's the alphabet soup of everything that's going wrong. But as I said, it's a book about healing, so don't worry. If you've read the book, you'll discover I've solved all the problems. Now, if I could just get everybody to read the book. While writing this book, I started receiving letters from the earth. Now, some people might think I'm crazy, but Kathie didn't. I talked to Kathie about them and told her I'm putting them up on my website, and you can still find them there at spiritualseedlings.com. She told me, Nancy, I think you should write them into a book. Kathie wanted me to write an introduction to each letter and my response. And so I began, which became my third book, published by Higher Ground Books and Media in 2018. Kathie says it's one of her favorite books. Let me tell you about it. In May 2015, the Earth wrote me a letter and told me to start a blog. Since then, I've received more letters from the Earth, which are encouraging, uplifting, and challenging. During our growing ecological crisis, this book provides a fresh voice of Gaia, God, who calls us to slow down and take time to appreciate the miraculous nature of all and to awaken to needed changes to avoid environmental destruction. And I guess through this process, I began to realize that my mentor believed in me. And that's a really great feeling. She told me after I prepared the manuscript with 24 letters from the earth and my commentary that I should write a letter to the readers about what I learned, because this was a wonderful experience for me. I learned to live in the moment, to dance, to savor the people and the food, to speak up about the climate. It was really a wonderful experience for me, and writing that final letter gave me a chance to summarize it for my readers. Then I asked her what she thought about me writing a book on contemplative practice. I'd gone through training with the Shalem Institute, and I was leading a retreat at my friend's church in which I had developed a little primer, and I thought that could be a beginning. And she encouraged me to expand it and write it into a book. We introduced each practice with a poem, a letter from the earth, and then instructions for the practice. I discussed my personal experiences with each contemplative practice, and then I also gave suggestions for individual and group practice. My fourth book, Awakening, a Contemplative Primer on Learning to Sit, was published by Higher Ground Books and Media in 2020. This is a third book that we worked on together, and I really valued Kathie's mentoring and coaching. You can find this Awakening, a Contemplative Primer on Learning to Sit as a how-to manual for Christians seeking to dwell close to the mystery of God. It teaches meditation, labyrinth walking, mindful eating, and other contemplative practices that illuminate the moment and awaken the pilgrim into taking action in these challenging times. And then I was also beginning the third book in the MAM series about Ireland. She coached me and mentored me through this, my fifth book, writing about race and coming together across the political and racial divides. Now, in this book, the spirits of St. Bridget, a leprechaun, and Grandmama, a Southern Black matriarch, show up. So you might think, again, that I'm a little crazy, but Kathie encouraged me. And this book was accepted for publishing, but then it was rejected at the last minute, so I had to find a different publisher, and Kathie was there cheering me along. I was so happy when Revelation the Roots Emerald Isle was picked up by All Things That Matter Press and published in 2022. It went on to become finalists in several award categories, and this book matters now more than ever. Somehow we need to come together as people across political and racial divides. So in this book, the magnificent and marvelous book club, the Mams, return in an adventure of discovery to explore their Irish roots. The ancient spirits of a leprechaun, Saint Bridget, and an African-American matriarch, Grandmama, conspire to awaken the travelers to possibilities. Can the grieving, reluctant Ma'am Abigail open her heart to their jolly tour guide? Can Welby, a black ex-convict, and Reagan, a white nurse in recovery, find a bridge across the political divide? While the entourage explore the Emerald Isle, pause for listening circles, a retreat at the Well of St. Bridget, and gather at a peace center in Northern Ireland, the story unfolds with much surprises and revelation as the characters find new hope for their lives and America. So I told Kathie, I want to break out of the mold and write about a young woman in love with the earth like myself and include climate issues. And she said, let's do it. Mariah of the Wind was published by All Things That Matter Press in 2023 and won the International Impact Book Award. In Mariah of the Wind, a modern love story, Mariah, a young woman who's enamored with the earth, meets Max, a widowed wind scientist. As the season unfolds, Max deals with grief as Mariah continues to grapple with losses of her own. When Howard, representing a public relations firm for the fossil fuel industry, harasses Max and his fellow climate scientist Buck, Max leaves town. COVID strikes shortly after Max returns. Mariah and Max grapple with new love during the pandemic. Then Howard returns bringing COVID along. An unexpected pregnancy, an inheritance, and a near-death climate experience lead the characters into a space of hope for the future. And I continue to write in the Ma'am series, another book about the Gullah people and the Black heritage sites in the South, which became Revelation on the Sea Island, published in 2025 by All Things That Matter Press. This won the Regional Lit Award in the 2025 Great Southeast Book Festival. In this book, the magnificent and marvelous book club, the Mams, are back in a new adventure, discovering Gullah roots on the sea islands of Georgia, North and South Carolina. While Reagan and Welby encounter family conflict and Reagan uncovers her divided roots, Welby reunites with his father. Ma'am Priscilla traces her slave origins with a journal and a quilt. As the group explore Savannah, Hilton Head, Charleston, and Wilmington, they visit old plantations, discovering their changing identities and connections across race and time. Kathie and I continue to work together. Right now, we're working on another book in the Ma'am series, Revelation in West Africa. I went to Ghana a couple times. I want to be a witness to talk about the slave trade, about the heritage of the people who came to America from Ghana and West Africa, and also about modern Africa. I'm also working on another nonfiction, which I'm calling Earthly Spirituality, where I'm writing through the seasons of the year and how nature connects me with God on my spiritual path. So what a journey. I've written 7 books now. Kathie's written a lot more, and we continue to work together. And I'm so grateful to her for her mentoring and coaching of me through my last 6 books. I'm very grateful for the discipline that this process provides. I have to provide weekly submissions, and then her editing assistance and guidance on my rewrites is so valuable. She also helps me with character and plot development. And more than that, she encourages me, says, good job, Nancy, this was good. You really did a great job here, every week after week. And then she holds my hand again when I submit and gives me publishing advice. So I'm very eternally grateful to Kathie, my mentor. And I want to tell you, things go much better with a mentor. If you want to accomplish your goals, find a mentor to help you get to the top. And if you're a writer, I'd encourage you to check out All Writers Workshop and Workplace. Visit All Writers Workplace and Workshop online at allwritersworkshop.com. This is an international creative writing studio located in Waukesha, Wisconsin. All Writers offers online and on-site classes in all genres and abilities of creative writing, as well as coaching and editing services. And I'd also encourage you to check out Kathie's work online at kathiegiorgio.org, where you can find information about her over 15 books now that she's published. This has been the Writing for Change podcast with Nancy Flinchbaugh. I want to thank you for listening. You can find out more about my books on my websites at nancyflinchbaugh.com and spiritualseedlings.com. Have a great day.